Doing?
Working on the dirt bike. Hey, Daddy, you can see the... Wait, Daddy, it looks a lot different because you can actually see this. And it's supposed to be right there.
But your ginormous head is blocking the airplane.
Huh? Wait, what?
I don't think that's working on the dirt bike.
It is gonna work. I told you.
What up, Murphy? Anyway, welcome back to another video. Hudson's gonna be the star of the show because that's how I think a video. He has to be on camera.
Yeah, because...
It's gonna have to be edited out. Why did you say that? Okay. Anyway, what we have here today is a 1980...
And look what I did. I took my training wheels off too.
A 1986 or 87 Yamaha TT350. Picked this up at the auction today. Of course it doesn't run. Basically sight unseen. I seen pictures of it and that was as far as it went.
And then there's a flat tire on it too. Don't forget that. Look,
Hudson noticed something. It has a flat tire.
yeah.
What else did you notice?
I noticed that it had some of these in case your hands get dirty.
Yes. Was that from the fire or somebody shooting a gun?
I think that's from the fire.
Couple things to note. Hand grips are wore out. No big deal. Those are cheap. This guard here, this hand guard here is a little wore.
All the way over here, so that could have been the fire.
But overall, it doesn't look too bad. Somebody's had the case apart.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw smoke coming right about.
Somebody's had the case apart here, looks like. They said it doesn't run, it has a carb issue. I think before we even dive into this thing, we check the oil, dump some gas in it, and just see what it does.
Yes. There's gas over there. I can go get it.
Dump some gas in it, and just see if it does anything. Oh, it's an 87.
Yeah. Here's the
It says
gas.
it right there.
Here's the gas.
Okay, I'll put you on my head and see if we can, if it does anything, and then we'll start diving in. Guess we're just going to have to bump start it. Or bump. Can you move your bike?
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, they're getting a little scratchy.
There's not even a valve stem in there. Like a valve core. The engine is free. That I know. I did that when I got there. Got a compression release right here. So when you kick it, I don't think it has any gas in it. Let's see. I'll dump some gas in it and see what happens. Bone dry. Or it's got a pressurized oil system. So that's nice. YDIS carburetor. No dipstick. Well, how are you supposed to check the oil? Single cylinder, but it has two carburetors. Two carb looking things. I'm gonna figure this out together. Well, let's just see if it'll do anything. Can kind of feel.
I just bumped into the fence.
Well,
did it fall off?
no. We're off to a good start so far.
Yes, it did fall off.
I guess before we do anything else, we'll get this replaced. Despite not being able to check the oil level and not being able to put air in the tire and shearing the kickstand starter off of the engine, we're going to just try to bump start it anyway. See what that does. Probably should see if they're getting fuel down to the carburetor. Ooh, that line is rock hard. Oh boy.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, Hudson. Chain's rusty. This thing's sat for a while. Chain's actually a little too tight, to be honest.
The chain's too tight.
Doesn't have much slack in it. Does have an old style reservoir on there. Okay, let's get some of this stuff out of the way. We've got a clutch cable here, foot pegs. Let's just see what we get into. Been a while since I had oil in there. Not sure what that's for. Probably for head lubrication, I could imagine, because it goes up to the head. Looks like it's all one piece here. Yep. Hang that up out of the way. Spring goes here. Clutch cable. Oh, it's on that side. Oh, that's a decompression lever. That's what that is. I forgot about that. I forgot that it has that, actually. See if we can just sneak this by this fitting here. I don't know if we'll be able to. It's a hard line. There. There's our clutch basket. Oil looks really good in here. That's nice to see, actually. But we're after this guy here, and I have no idea how that comes off or comes out, but I could imagine we gotta get that spring off. But how do we get that spring off without killing ourselves? Let me grab some pliers and see if we can get that off. Maybe a screwdriver? gonna be nice putting it back on. I'm probably gonna open up a nest of worms here, but I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. I know we're gonna have to rewind this thing and have to see how big of a pain in the butt that's gonna be, but we'll just see if we can get this out of here. There it goes. That won't be too bad to wind back up. I hope. Hope I didn't jinx myself. There's your spring. Wow. Okay. I see how it works. Just a ratcheting mechanism there. So we'll depress that spring, get the snap ring off of there. So you probably won't hear much of this video because I have it muted because I was on the phone with my father and we were talking about things. It's probably not good for YouTube. So you're gonna hear me have a little voiceover. Turn the gain down a little bit here. Hopefully everybody can still hear me. So this thing went in pretty easy, except I forgot the spring the first time, and then now I'm redoing it and trying to figure out how it's going to go back on, because every time I make a new video on this dirt bike, it's like a week has passed because I wait on parts. Like I had to wait for the Kickstarter shaft to come in, plus the gasket. And then here I am trying to put this spring back on its little peg. And then after a while here, when I get it back together, you notice that it does not turn over. But I'm not going to spoil the surprise. So, this in, everything looks fine. The spring's in the right spot. Everything's good there. The spring seems to work fine. Bringing the Kickstarter back up. Problem is, it doesn't turn the bike over at all. Let me see if I can, maybe I should be a man about it. Yeah, it doesn't turn the bike over at all. I don't want to break it, being an idiot, but I do know the engine turns over, so I do know that. I'm going to do a little more looking here and see if I messed something up. I probably did, but I'm going to pull this back off and see what happened. Okay, you want to make sure that your engine turns over. So watch this. See how it just stops? Oh boy. I think we've got, I don't want to say it yet, but I think we've got timing issues. But it doesn't make any sense because I had this thing in gear and I tried to bump start it, which I shouldn't have looking back. It had a rat's nest in it, so maybe it sucked something up. I've got a borescope we can look into the cylinders with, but if you watch this, I can turn it clockwise. Like so. Then we turn it back the other way, it just stops. It's not in gear, it's in neutral. We'll rotate this way. No. Is it something in the gears? Got compression. I think there's something in the cylinder. I'm gonna get my borescope out and see what I can see. Okay, this is gonna be hard to see, but I got this in the left intake port, and we indeed sucked in some debris. How well you guys will be able to see it. So what is happening, the valve is actually stuck open right now. You can kind of see in the corner of the screen right there, it's got some debris on top of the valve, and the valve is open actually. If this has an SD card in it, I would just put it in my editing, but it doesn't, okay? It's cheap. Oh, there you go, there's a good picture. That's the valve stem. Look at that big chunk right there on top of the valve. I don't have a vacuum cleaner here. I'm working on it, okay? Rome wasn't built in a day. So we're gonna have to open that valve and suck out that cylinder, or should we blow it out? I don't know if I wanna do that or not. I don't know if I wanna do that or not. I'll figure something out. I got it rotating now, all the way over, even with the Kickstarter. So I use the advantage of 2 intake ports per 1 cylinder to help blow out that debris. So I put the air chuck in here and it blew out on the left side. So now it rotates freely. I got to wait on a gasket for this so I can put the case back on, so I can get this back together, because you can't kick it over with nothing supporting this front. The front nose of this shaft, because it'll dig into the case, unfortunately. So, we're gonna clean off this gasket and order a new gasket, because I would just use RTV, but the problem being it has this channel for the oil filter, and I don't know how RTV would work around this. You don't want any RTV in the oil filter area. So, that's fun. I do have the carburetor off. I'll make a video on cleaning that. Obviously, gotta get the air box out and clean the air box out, and then put the carb on, and then put this back together and fill it with oil, and then see if we have spark. Okay, I guess stay tuned. We'll get this thing together at some point. Okay, fast forward a couple of weeks. I ended up getting an ultrasonic cleaner, which I have 0 experience with. Did some quick research and used pine sol oil. And you want to keep them kind of separated, because I heard through the grapevine that the chemicals will eat through the steel, stainless steel, eventually. But the one slide, so the way the carburetor is set up, you have a main carb, and then you have like a vacuum carb. It doesn't have a bowl or anything, it just siphons from the main carb. And the slide in this one is completely frozen, and I've tried everything to get it loose. This is the last result. Even if I got this is the last, this is the final straw. This is pine sol oil. Pine sol. And we put them in these beakers. We got from Dollar General for like $3. I already broke one. Came with 3 of them. Couldn't fit the bowl in there, but it will eventually. So this thing's pretty cool. I didn't know that the sound they make is very, I don't know, really just sends my ears for a loop. But this is the bike, got it all back together. Everything went well with that. I know I've been skipping around a little bit, but new carb boots, fresh oil. It turns over nice now. And yeah, last step is the carburetor. Clean the air box a little bit, just see if we can get it running. I didn't know the petcock is leaking a little bit, and there's a lot more stuff we need to do to it. Like, well, the rear tire doesn't hold any air. That's great. And then these shock covers, they're like hard as a rock. So, trying to keep everything organized. I just put a garage door opener up, so that was nice. Of course, I had to work on the garage door opener. before I had to put it up. Because I had it up and then the main gear stripped out and it's just a mess. So got the scooter. So yeah, we got 23 minutes left and see how this does. It is heating. So I'm already impressed with how it's done so far. But obviously we'll see how it does. Carburetor was absolutely disgusting. I don't know why I tried to start it. No way it was going to run at all. So, okay. I'm sure I'll see you in another couple weeks. With this thing, I just don't get it. It's literally a week later. I was just joking when I said that, but where's my pry bar? I'm going to give this thing a piece of my mind. As soon as I find my pry bar, my son took it, was playing with it. Now who knows where it went? I don't. He was whacking this engine with it. I'm gonna give this carb a piece of my mind. So I wanna ride that bike. I know it's snowing out now, but I wanna at least get it running, for Pete's sake. Now, you're gonna do something whether you like it or not. What I really need is to torch this thing. The slide is supposed to move, but it is just frozen solid. I thought we moved it a little bit, but I couldn't be more wrong. It just couldn't be more wrong. I've about had it with you. I have about had it. Now, I was going to 3D print a manifold to go to a single carburetor, because on the bike here, if you look, I bought new carb boots, and I seen a guy, there's a company that makes the 2-to-1 carb conversion, but it's like $600. And then you want to find the carb that's in good functional shape, $400 for that carb setup. Like, what? I mean, I know they only made these bikes for 2 years, but for Pete's sake, you can't just rob me like that. And I won't have it either. I am not going to have it. But I don't know what I'm going to do either. Frozen. I don't know what kind of mice pee and poop is that corrosive, but it really did a number on this thing. So that's where we're at with this bike. I guess I'll see you in another week if I try to figure something out. How I lived life without an ultrasonic cleaner. This thing was completely gummed up and it works well now. Of course I say that and that doesn't work. There it goes. I mean, that is spit shine in there. A little bit of crud in there, but that's not what really matters. What really matters is the insides. So we're gonna put those together right meow. Okay, it quite hasn't been a week later, but it's been a day, okay? Back with the carburetor. Now, today's gonna be the day. We're hearing this bike run, whether it likes it or not. So if I cannot get this secondary carb to free up, I just got back from Home Depot. I bought my toe. I bought a extension hose. These are really, really nice because if you ever use a torch before and you're trying to like torch upside down or sideways, the liquid propane comes out and your flame gets like this big, then this big, and it just, sometimes it goes out. So you buy this hose, which extends it from so the tank can sit up, right, and you don't have to move the tank around. And I also bought this because I didn't have one. Okay, now I do. So if this fails and doesn't work, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I bought a PVC pipe plug and we're just gonna shove it right into that where that secondary carb goes. Hopefully this is big enough or small enough. Dang it. I knew it looked kind of big, but I didn't measure it. Fits in here though. Huh. Well, maybe I'll go back to Home Depot. But either way, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to plug the one side. It's going to run on the main carb. And from my research, we're not going to have anything over half throttle unless we drill the jet out in the main carb. We might do that too. So let me get this set up. I'll get this thing heating up and we'll see if we can free it up with some real heat instead of my lighter. It's pretty cool. Look at that. I'm gonna put some real heat on this thing. Dang, Daniel. Maybe a little PV. WD. Dang. This thing is like stuck. Wow, I've never in my 27 years of being on this earth have encountered anything like this before. So I've seen this move up a little bit, but I think that's just from the heat. Should we try like flash freezing it? Is this gonna... Darn. I can't. I don't know. I'm at my wit's end with this thing. I don't think it's possible, gentlemen. Okay, this thing, forget about it. So I had to go back to the hardware, and I got me a 3/4 plug. And we're just gonna plug off that cylinder, you know, just like that. Boop. Well, maybe boop. Okay, and we'll put a hose clamp around that. I'll make sure it's fully seated. Feels like it is. Put a hose clamp around that, tighten that down really good. That should solve that. We're gonna run off the primary carb, okay, which is on this left side. So I gotta get that carb back together. So if I put you up in a time lapse for that. So yeah, let's get it back together and see if we can do something with it. All right, we'll turn the gas on. And I think this is it's gonna be a determining factor. Let me put a clamp on that other side, but let's just see if it'll fire. I was trying to blow that out. Yeah, I need to put a clamp on that. Okay, I think we're ready to try to fire it. Choke's on, fuel's on, bowl should be full. Just see what happens. That's already dumping gas out the carburetor. Oh, I think the drain's open. See what that does. Whoa! Just shot that plug clear out of there. Huh. It's on fire. Huh. Things have escalated with the bike. Okay. Again, it's been like a week later. And I think where we left off was it was backfiring out of the right intake valve. Well, here's where we're at now. Oh my goodness, I just don't understand. Anyways, off camera, I tore this thing down, okay? And turns out that intake valve had some shmoo on it, because when I first initially tested this thing, when I bump started it, well, it sucked everything in from the airbox into the engine, through the carburetor. Great. And the good news is everything looks good in here. Look how thick that connecting rod is. It's a very short stroke. I guess not how thick the connecting rod itself is, but like the connecting rod, you know, there's no cap, but where it hooks onto the crank, it's like this big. Anyway, very short stroke. So yeah, what I found was I ended up putting this in the ultrasonic cleaner. I took the rings off, cleaned out everything on the piston, and now everything looks good. I was gonna buy new rings, but you know, we're trying to keep this on a budget. I got a gasket kit coming, and when I was I got all the valve springs and all the valves back in because I took the valves out and lapped them. And if you don't have that little suction cup tool, you know what I mean, when you're lapping valves, so basically when you lap valves, you just put this, it's like a grit paste, and you put it on the valve and you just spin the valve, you know what I mean? So what that does, I should have made a video of it, but I didn't because I had my boy, and you know, it's sometimes can be tricky. But here's what it looks like now. Obviously this is after I did a little bit of cleaning. So basically put that lapping compound on there and you just spin the valve back and forth, obviously without the valve spring on it. And then what that does is it roughs up the valve and the seat, and it makes a nice sealing surface for the valve. And if you don't have that little tool to make a suction cup tool where you kind of, looks like starting a fire, you kind of do this back and forth. I had an old valve stem laying around, just chucked that in the drill, and then I just put that on here, and that ended up spinning the valve. Okay? Anyways, that's where we're at right now. I broke one bolt off in the exhaust side, of course, the last bolt I was working on. Everything else came out, so we're going to have to weld a nut to that and get that out of there. So right now I'm waiting on a head gasket, actually a gasket kit for the jug. Down here, the gasket that goes here, and then the head gasket, obviously. So yeah, and this is obviously overhead cam. So what the manual says is you put this, I'm not sure what it stands for, but there's an F and a T, okay, and then this is your pointer right here. Now it's hard to see. You put the T right there, that'd be top dead center, which you can see. Obviously, we're pretty much there right now, but put that on T, lock it there, and then you put your cams on, and there's little marks on the cams and stuff. I know it looks like hell, but it's an organized mess, all right? Anyway, so when the parts come in for this, we will put the jug back on and put the piston back in. This has went way farther than I had ever imagined, but I think we're on the upswing now. I'm not sure. Maybe? Anyways, I just want to hear it run. But before you do that, you got to tear the whole thing down. Not the whole thing, just the top end. And redo it, which, I don't know, kind of makes me feel good because I want to ride this thing, and I'm talking ride it. What is this? What is that? Oh, that's for the headlights. I just noticed that. Nice. Wow, this thing is luxury. Anyway, and then after I get everything closed back up, I mean, I could do it now, but it's a little cold out. It's not too cold today. I just want to pressure wash the whole thing and get it cleaned up. But yeah, that's where we're at with the bike. Okay. Sorry this video has been kind of jumped around, but you know, my schedule, and it's been a mess, but we're going to get this thing. Come hell or high water, we're going to get this thing, and it's going to like it. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll be back when the parts come in. All right, I can't remember where we left off, but I put the head in the dishwasher, and then of course it flash rusted, so I sprayed it down with some WD-40. And I was waiting on a valve keeper to come in from Partzilla, but hasn't showed up yet because one went shooting across the room. Couldn't find it, but I did end up finding it. So all the valve keepers are in. A little bit of surface rust. It'll be fine. Everything's fine. Dishwasher did a pretty good job. The valves have been lapped, and they're in their place. Everything looks good there. Gasket kit came in, so that's there. I went and bought a hone for the cylinder, so we can hone that. But I'm trying to choose what I want to do first because we've got to get this broken stud out right there. And we're going to use the welder for that, obviously. So, need to get that out, but we need to hone that cylinder. Doesn't matter which one we do first, they both got to get done. So let's just try to get this out. I'm sure that's going to be the hardest job. Okay. So I'm going to get a little nut, fire up the welder, and see if we can get this thing out of here. Doesn't feel good. I think I just welded it to the aluminum head somehow. Nope. I don't know if this thing's coming out. Broke it off again. Joke's on you, I don't have a center punch, so this is going to have to do. I do have an easy out, so I'm going to try that. Not quite center. That's fine. Just tap it in there maybe. I'll come back with you guys when I figure something out. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I got the header on here, well, basically the exhaust, and just seeing where the holes line up, because it is off center. I'm human, okay? I didn't get it perfectly straight. You'll have that, but luckily there was a little bit of movement in this, like a lot of movement actually. So we put this top bolt in, just for example. If we put that in, we can move this wherever we want. So I think we'll be okay. I just got to drill that out and re-tap it. It's going to be a bigger bolt, but luckily we got some room in the flange as well. So that should work just fine. Just got to get cleaned up and get it tapped. We're going to move on to honing the cylinder. I'm having a heck of a time drilling this because, well, I decided to weld it, you know, get the weld down in there and then bring the weld up through the bolt that we had a hole in now. And that way I could have the nut basically one piece. Problem with that is the weld is hard and all my drill bits will not drill through that. I can't even get down past the weld. Now what's happening as I'm drilling down, the drill bit is actually walking to the left this way, going through the aluminum. So now it's starting to get wallowed out. So I need to just come up with a different plan. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but we're gonna put that to the side, you know, and we're gonna hone the cylinder. Brand new hone because you break them when you use them. Basically just has stones on here. It'll straighten the cylinder back out. We're gonna lube it up real good. Stick this in there. pretty good. Nice cross hatching. We're going to go ahead and just throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner for a half hour. And then we'll wipe it clean. Alright, I got this cleaned up for the most part. I don't want to go too crazy. I mean, this is aluminum. All this stuff you can see I can't feel. It's just like gasket staining. Another note, you want to make sure, so these are basically the main 4 bolts. So this holds the head and the jug to the bottom of the crankcase. And what you want to make sure of is there is no fluid in here, okay? Now, these 2 were full of fluid, oil, and I just took the air compressor and blew them out really good. I just did it again. Reason for that is, if you have fluid under the bolt and you're torquing it down, that fluid is not going to compress, right? So it'll actually break or find another way out down here. Because you're cramming, when you're torquing it down, the bolt's going down, right? And it's cramming that fluid. That fluid's got to have somewhere to go, and it can't come up because it can't get around the threads quick enough as you're tightening it down. So it'll actually push out the bottom or the side or whichever. And I've actually done that on, I had, coolant was in there and I blew it out, but I didn't blow it out good enough and it actually ended up cracking and somewhere inside. Luckily the engine was still good, but you just gotta make note of that. Other than that, we're gonna wait on the jug to get done and start putting it back together. Okay, here we are. I gotta grab the O-ring for the jug and basically it goes on just like this. Just goes around the cylinder itself. Like that. Grab our locating dowels. And grab our gasket. Push our wrist pin in some more. Now we can get our clip in there. This is a great time to cover any of this in case that clip flings out of there. Don't want it to fall in the engine. Our little clip. There, our clip's in. That little indent is so you can get it out right there. See if we get this thing on there. Here's the verdict. Got a new hole in there. Just went to the hardware and I got a tap. Now this is a 6mm by 1 by 25. Well, that's the bolt. Ignore the 25 part. Hole's a little oblonged. You know, I'm not perfect. Okay? Hole's off-centered and then the weld was stuck down in there, but nonetheless, we have another threaded hole. At least I hope. There it goes. Will it hold? I don't know. Is it better than nothing? Yes. So, it is what it is. That's the best thing I could do for right now. I think there is still a... Let's take a peek here. I think there's an old gasket in here, old exhaust gasket, I believe. Where's my little razor blade at? There's the razor blade. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is a gasket in there. Oh, it definitely is. So we're gonna pull these gaskets out. We're gonna put the new gaskets in. These are a lot thicker. I don't think they're 2-piece. Yeah, they're definitely 1-piece. But we're gonna replace those. Have to get the old ones out. But for now, let's get the head on now. Now that we got that all taken care of. I'm going to blow this all out, make sure there's no aluminum shavings anywhere it shouldn't be, and we'll get this thing back on a bike. Now it's time for head.
I'm going to turn the video camera on. The floor's a little dirty, but I can kneel down right in front of you.
It's on right now. Thanks for that. And see if you can grab that. Careful, it's just on a magnet. Oh. Oh. Oh, I see. The dowel is in the same spot the other dowel is. Just gonna move this one over. If I get it out of there. All right. There's our chain. It's here for now. our guide. I believe it just sits in there because it's got a little deal here. Chain out of the way. It just literally sits in this little deal. It's captured into the head. Grab the right bolt and then put it in. Let's try this head bolt. I don't know if these are torque to yield or not. We're just gonna reuse them because it's what I got. Oh yeah, don't forget the washers. Starting to look like a motor again. No idea what the torque spec is on these. Guess I can look it up. And then to get the head off, there's these two nuts that go in underneath the head with washers. But you don't have to take them off. If you just want the head off, then yes, but the 4 bolts gotta come out anyway, so you might as well just pull the whole jug off. Okay, the sequence for these, there's 4 main head bolts, and then there's 2 smaller 6mm bolts here. Those are Allen only. The head bolts are hex and Allen. And then you have the cylinder head nuts, carburetor side and exhaust side. So the sequence is, looks like, small ones first, 1, 2, and then 3 on the cylinder head nuts, 4 on the back side, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to do that now. I do it. If I can find my socket I just had 2 seconds ago. So I actually don't have the right Allen to fit my torque wrench. So you see me just do the mains first, and then I just snug up the rest of them. As long as you have those 4 mains down and they're equally torqued, everything else should fall into place. So that's what I'm doing here. These get torqued to 17 foot-pounds, I believe. So we'll use the torque wrench and tighten this up. Click. I don't think you're using this right. Whoop. Don't lose the Allen wrench in the engine. That bolt's not tight. See the flex in that? Opposed to like this. Wonder why that is. Hey, we're back. Little man sleeping in the car. I'm sure he'll wake up soon when he hears me talking. Remember how I said how important it was to blow out your holes? Well, when I started torquing the head down, this one, it torqued, but you can see the bolt was still loose. It wasn't actually clamping the head. So right now I'm going to take a little piece of hose down in there and try to blow out the oil. Now I already did this. I made sure they were all blown out, did it a couple times, but just want to double check to see if there's anything down in there. Okay, that hose ain't gonna work. I just found a straw. There's nothing in there, which I thought, but the bolt wouldn't go down.
Because it was dirty and it wasn't running. We water. Probably not. They know the suspension broke right here.
It's just a dust cover, huh? Yeah, okay, pal. That's not how those cam caps are supposed to go in there. They're supposed to slide in nice and easy, and they all have specific shims on where they're supposed to be, pal. I don't know why you're tapping them in like that. Okay, it ain't right. Something ain't right. Okay, you got to figure something out to fix it.
to do something like that.
Another problem. Again, I cannot get these cam caps in. I just can't. I don't understand. I put them in the exact same order they came out. That's very important you do that. And I got to put them back in the cylinder head and they won't fit. I've tried just tapping on them just a little bit. You shouldn't have to tap them at all. You should be able to slide them down in because they're supposed to move. So I don't understand what's going on. So I guess I'll come back when I figure it out. It turns out the valve springs had rusted and there's a little bit of pitting on the inside of this. So I just cleaned that up a little bit. And this is with no lube.
I was going to say please. Can you please take this because it's broken? It was like this and now it's just.
Okay, so now they both fit. I can put these back in. These move freely. And I can put these shims back in when they need to be. I took pictures before I took it apart. And I took pictures of the shims so I didn't get them mixed up. So now I can put it back together again. This has been so much fun. Okay, so I took a picture before I took this apart. You got these shims. Okay, these are very, very important. See the number on there? 252. These are different thicknesses and thousandths. And they correspond with each valve. Very important you keep them in order. I wrote down the order I took these out, so I can put them back in the right way. It's very important. If you don't get that right, this thing will not run. Because what happens is the cam lobe actually holds the valve open if you got the wrong tolerance. And then it won't obviously have any compression. Anyway, I'm done rambling. Alright? Got the fucking caps in. Okay, and they move. I'll prove it to you. You want me to prove it? Just grab your little punch here and push down. I had to clean up the corrosion inside there. I guess when I put it in the dishwasher, it had some corrosion. Okay, so now we can put it back together. Maybe, in theory, allegedly, hypothetically. Here we go. All right, y'all. I think I finally got it. It's as close as I can get it. And I've been messing with this thing off camera. So these dots here on the camshafts are supposed to line up with these little marks on the cam caps. That's as close as I can get it. Now, T is supposed to be on this little pointer right here, right there. Because even if I move it a tooth, right, it's going to be either far away from it or, you know, this is like half a tooth. And the same with this, it's like half a tooth. But if you look down in here, per the manual, those holes are supposed to be lined up perfectly right there. Okay. Now all the timing I've done in my life, well, this is like the first time I've done timing on a dirt bike, but like on a car, it's very precise. I mean, you can get these things dialed in so they're perfect. They give you this little pointer, which isn't perfect, to line up with that T, right? So I think it'll run. I mean, it's not that far out. Tensioner's tight. I spun the engine over. Everything works good. So now I'm going to just button up. I'm going to put the valve cover on, get that decompression lever hooked up, get the exhaust on, and see if we can fire this thing and maybe it'll run. That'll be exciting. It's only been a couple of months. All right, welcome back to the disaster. I know it's a complete pigsty. I have this cover off on this side because we have to address the chain and the rear tire at some point, so I'll have to cover it off. I got the fuel tank in. I just put fuel in it. The choke, of course, is now sticky. It wasn't when I was trying to fire it the first time. But let's give it a few kicks and just see what happens. I got the cap to the carbon choke cleaner in this side because remember, this has 2 intake ports and I can't get that secondary carb freed up, and they want like $850 million for a new set, so we'll kick it over and see what happens. Well, immediately blows that out. Let's just put this thing back on. The heck was that? Oh. Did you hear it? It ran for a second. Come on, baby. What? What? It ran! It freaking ran! It's only been 2 months. Whoa! Whoa! I gotta sit down. I don't know if I can handle that much excitement in one day. A little bit of oil on the cylinder and everywhere. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. Will it run without choke? Will it run without choke? What? Who would have thought? Oh my goodness. We did it. That's awesome. Oh, it got me all fired up. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think this one was gonna run again. But hey, it runs. I don't know if the clutch works. I don't know if, the rear tire's flat, but I don't know, maybe we put the seat on it and go putt around. What if we do that? I know, like I said, rear tire's flat. And the airbox is just willy-nilly, and I don't have the side cover on because I need to do something with the chain and the rear tire, but I don't know. What do you think? Take it for a quick spin, if it fires back up. Let me think about it. I decided to take it for a ride despite the flat tire. Let's see. Yeah, I can't see nothing because my eyes are not adjusted. First gear, second gear, third gear. Oh, this thing rides nice. Do we even need the secondary carb? I mean, that was like half throttle, 3/4. Nice little trail bike, honestly. this thing rides nice. Oop, got my foot in the flywheel, that's alright. Rear tire, that floor tire. Little hill climb. Oh, no problem. This thing actually has plenty of power. Uh-oh. This is really awesome. I cannot believe this. This thing had to have sat for like 10 years. Got plenty of power. Even on one carburetor, it's got plenty of power. It idle. Look at that. I like how the snow is going right on the front of the engine. We'll do a Bernie Sanders. Yes, it will. All right, that's gonna do it for this one. I just still have to button it up, obviously, but like I gotta clean the airbox out and you know, put the plastics back on it. But it has a little cough there. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but I don't know if that's a fuel issue or maybe I didn't change the spark plug. It's original plug, so it could be that. Valve issue, I don't think so. Earlier when I was riding it, I don't know if you guys heard me, I said, oh, I seen water, which I thought was oil right there. But it's just from the snow, you know, from the front tire. So, all right. I never thought this day would come, but I'm proud to say we're done with this one. Well, like I said, got some stuff to button up. Something don't sound right in that door opener, but must be the metal gears I put in it. But anyway, yeah, I got to put the side cover back on. I'm gonna either get a new chain or lube the chain up really well. Obviously, the rear tire is flat. But other than that, I gotta clean this hole up we call a garage, and then yeah, that'll be it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Boy, it was a lot of ups and downs with this bike, I tell you what, but I am I'm happy as a dog in the heat, if I'm being honest. I didn't think I'd see this day. You know, it's you know, the old me would be like, oh, doesn't run, get rid of it. No, I wanted to ride it, okay? And the new me has patience and time. Well, the time is slim pickings, but hey, it's running. So, well, if you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, comment, and share it with your friends. And I will see you guys on the next one.